Hello once again, Taurus, Didici here from astrology.com.au. Welcome to all of you, regulars and new people alike. It's time for your Oracle Express, that karmic train that gives us insights into what's happening in your life based upon your sun sign of Taurus, your rising sign, or lunar sign if you know it, if it happens to be Taurus. I'm going to start the wheel of time rolling here, and you can see that straight away on the 5th, an important transit with your ruling planet Venus moving out of this domestic sphere into your 5th house of creativity. This 5th house is also love affairs, romance, children, and speculation to some extent. You must be a little bit careful because all of these activities may weaken you a little bit, as Venus is in its weakest zodiac sign for quite a bit of the month. It actually shifts then to one of its stronger signs, the other sign ruled by your ruler, which is Libra. But there we see on the 5th, it makes its move there and is rather close to the sun. So number one, it has weakness by, pardon me, what we call debilitation. And number two, a weakness there, at least on the first day or two, by its proximity to the sun. The sun is ruling your 4th house of domestic issues. We see Venus has been transiting through this area of domesticity for some time. And so therefore, issues of the family, along with children, may be, if you have children and you're a parent, may be the cause of some of your issues that are draining you of energy and making you lethargic. You'll notice the sun is moving away as it's a faster moving body. We then see the very powerful impact of the full moon here in the 11th house taking place on the 10th, very close to Neptune. This 11th house is your friends. The full moon shines a light on that. There can be some confusion surrounding those relationships as a result of the transit of the moon over Neptune, a full moon, which is the 3rd house rulership of your mind. You might be a little over emotional with your friendships, along with that passing combustion but weakness of your ruler. Maybe it's not a bad time, as we can see there with the transit of the moon, 12 and 13 in your low-key 12th house, to maybe stay out of the line of fire. You know, you may not even be involved in any direct conflict with friends, but there's a thing called collateral damage. You could just happen to be on the sidelines and hit by a little bit of emotional shrapnel through that process. Let me try to come up to steam here. 17th, we see the opposition of the sun to Neptune here. That is, again, still playing out in this area of your children, your creativity, and your friendships. So probably after that date, 18th, 19th, you'll start to see some of those issues tailing off, thank goodness. Bit of volatility there over your finances with the moon and Mars combining on the 17th. Then on the 19th, we have that an additional extravagant Mercury opposition Jupiter in the 6th house of debts, 12th house of expenses. Notice these planets are all retrograde as well. So time for a big reevaluation there. And if you're like me, and you happen to enjoy a little bit of retail therapy, not a little, let's use the correct adjective there, a lot of retail therapy where you clock up those bills, it might be time for a reappraisal on that. Mercury moves out into Virgo on the 20th. Moved back here into this 5th house on the 23rd. You see there's a big exchange of energy here. You've got all of these hard aspects. The red aspects are showing tension, a bit of a tense period here and towards the last week of the month. There's Mercury moving back out on the 23rd in its retrograde motion out of the 6th house of health, workplace relations. We see the sun transiting into that area as well. And then you're going to have a new moon in this area, Taurus, which shows us a big shift yet again into this location. 6th house is the way you manage your workplace relations. I'm going to make a note of that. I think that's important. Workplace relations, your own health, and debts. It could be that at that time you decide to take a big step in the direction of changing your spending habits, changing the way you do business with other people, because that sixth house is all about how the people you do business with spend their money as well. So there's a very deep link, there's an interlink between your spending habits and their spending habits. And don't forget too that this seventh house to which this relates has to do with your marriage or long-term committed partnerships. So there may be issues that you need to work on associated with your shared resources, which is normally this eighth house stuff, but you can see the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, is there in this 12th house of expense retrograde, partaking of the energies of that new moon. So big changes there in terms of your shared finances and the way that you spend your money, and I'm sure that's going to help put a few bucks in your pocket. The month ends still with Mercury retrograde in the 5th house, so I think this reappraisal is ongoing for a little while. Get more news on the Taurus horoscope at astrology.com.au. I've got more there for you, Taurus. Don't forget to subscribe though, because, you know, I like to give you all this information. The least you can do is just subscribe. Drop me a note, get a reading with me if you wish. I'll tell you what's coming up in the last few months of the year. And I hope to see you here next month. Take care now. Bye-bye.